working on Massive Cleanup Part 5. In order for ascension to happen, there has to be a massive cleanup. Now we're expecting the guest today, Dr. Phil Valentine. He's our guest speaker, author of The Wounded Womb. He's the founder of the University of the Kinetic Sciences. Also, he's the author of Biowarfare and the Technology of Genetic Ascension, and much, much more. You don't want to miss this. So, this subject has been on for a while. We've been talking about it, and I want to talk more on it. About pulmonary consciousness, both derived from and fosters the context of suppressed and resistance. Ignorance. Would that be ignorance? You would know. Okay. Here we go. Hi, this is Dash with Psychic World. This is Dr. Phil.
It's actually Dr. Valentine.
Dr. Valentine. Excuse me, I know you hate that. I hate it too. Dr. Valentine. Forgive me. Okay. This is, we want to honor our ancestors. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. I just introduced you as the guest speaker, author of The Wounded Womb, founder of the University of Kinetic Science. Also, your book on biowarfare and the technology of genetic ascension. He's much, much more. This man is really brilliant. And I want to thank him for taking the time out to come on to the show and actually share some of the things on it. Now, the topic we're talking about is ascension. In order for ascension to happen, there has to be a massive cleanup. The question is, the massive cleanup is on the external, internal. Could you expound on that exactly? Because I see you have a book that's related, that actually ties into it regarding technology and genetic ascension.
Well, yeah, that's going to be a book that we'll be dealing with called Cosmic Codex. I'm still in the process of writing and completing. As far as the cleanup is concerned, it's a little bit, I guess, mundane to just say there's got to be a cleanup. It more has to be, a willingness to clean. So, cleanup is concerned, that's definitely it's part of the course. It's definitely something that is already known, but who are the ones doing the cleanup? The cleanup is going to be some people who don't clean very efficiently. Some people who clean only work half the time and then come back another time and so forth. So yeah, the cleanup is going to have to be something that is first and foremost the choice of who the people are that's going to participate in that endeavor. And the people who are participating in that endeavor will have to be those who are, I guess, grown or trained or leaned on the kind of discipline that it's going to take to do that. Not everybody is going to be on the same level, so not everybody can actually perform the same task in that cleanup. So when you say cleanup, the first thing in the stages is to get the people on board who will have the necessary expertise to clean up in the capacity and in the arena and in the venue that they have the best chance of doing the best job.
That's good. Wow. Would you say, I understand about the different levels of cleanup. Would you say marching, meetings, protests, affirmative action, picketing, fighting, all the rest of that is more of a, would that help with the ascension? Is that part of the cleanup, or is that just in vain?
That's part of the things that created the mess that needed to be cleaned up. the name goes, is what created the mess. So essentially, most people are using the same formula for solutions that never work. They keep hiring the same people to do the same jobs purposefully because they know that all of the people, all of the scientists, the social scientists who came before us, Malcolm, Martin, Mosiah, Marcus Garvey, Ida B. Wells, and brothers and sisters along those lines, these scientists had formulas that either failed in the long run or eventually were checkmated so that they became inefficient. The people who are going to be are going to have a impact are going to be the ones who can create formulas that are not predictable to those who would set up countermeasures against that. The process is going to have to be something that is unique, is not being dictated by the old guard who are being paid by those who hired them to maintain us in specific lockdown little cubules and little cubicles of activity. We're going to have to find ways, imaginative ways, outside of those particular boundaries.
Okay, that's very good. Really deep. Would you say modern technology is part of the problem by us not using it on? Because I was reading somewhere that technology should have become an extension of ourselves. When we talk about Nikola Tesla, free energy, in the massive cleanup, and there was this one scientist in Turkey that actually had a formula to clean up the waters in the lakes, but the forces prevented him from bringing it forth. Would you say that the technology set before us, which I know, and we do have people that work behind the scenes that are actually tearing down these different strongholds. I know a lot of people are working behind the scenes in the internal level. It has to do with the breaking down of a lot of technology that has actually ruined this planet as well, and the stuck energy that's here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's hard to say how we will approach as far as technology is concerned because we have failed to investigate the original technology to its fullest spiritual potential. And the type of technology we have is based on a cold, non-empathetic developmental mindset that disengaged and disassociated itself from nature. So the kind of technology that the European has brought to bear may have very surface functional capabilities, but its primary mode of operation is for conquest and for control. So it was based upon an attack or a disenfranchisement from nature. So it tended to build upon itself because that non-empathetic feeling of detachment from nature allowed him to create things, to do things, and to think about things in a way that made his thinking isolated from everybody else on the planet, especially brown and black people. And so with that mentality, there was no spiritual or any kind of covalent or any kind of parallel developmental energies poured into the spiritual side or the part that would keep him or would have kept him empathetic to what it is he was investigating and creating his technologies around. So his lack of spiritual investment into his technologies, which essentially again goes into more control than anything else, he does not and cannot use technology for a spiritual cannot. The technology itself is based upon a wartime mentality. It's about, again, conquest and control, resources and so forth. The technology begs for its own sustenance, and that is raw materials where people live at the cheapest price. So the technology itself has a mindset that creates in its founder and its creator a kind of I guess, a kind of tempter of appetite. The technology creates an appetite for more technology or for greater sophistication and refinement of itself. It becomes more and more conscious, and in its quest for consciousness, it then begins to create conditions around it that compels its creator to give it more of what it demands, and that is what it calls progress. Progress is this superficial mentality that most people in the technological phases and into technological, gadgetry, they feel that progress is somehow moving the human condition forward, when essentially it's only moving a part of the human condition, a part dealing with left brain, functional superstructures of control, whereas the spiritual part that actually is a whole technology that does not need anything but mind and thought and intention and will to really work, to move mountains if necessary. That developmental part has been suppressed, and of course based upon, and will be found to be based upon, the fact that people who lack melanin needed to create technology in order for it to be a kind of melanin a kind of techno-spiritual interface with the cosmic mind. Whereas melanin, or deeply melanated people, already had a kind of biospiritual interface through melanin, the melanin molecular complex, with the interface that came in from light codes that would hit that melanin and actually impart information directly, because melanin is actually a superconductor. So that creation of that mask or interface between technology and spirit for the European man is his quest for the so-called transhuman change that he says humanity needs, because it has stopped evolving for whatever he means in his whole intellectual academic lexicon as evolution, whatever that means in his mindset. So evolution from the slimy slug to the fish, to something that walked out on the ground, and then according to his map, of course, his human map, that he came, and then it decided it wanted to be an ape, and then it became an ape, and then the ape then became a Neanderthal, and of course Neanderthal then became everything else human, in accordance with him. So he believes that now, because his spiritual mind can't take him beyond a certain threshold of realization, that he needs to amplify this body to a point where he has to create an artificial form of melanin that hyperactivates his recessive genetics, so that he can have a kind of spiritual experience. He can now cast his mind, like our ancestors did, to other planets and other dimensions and so forth. I always tell brothers and sisters that if a ship lands and it has a mechanical moving part, and it could come from any planet, stay clear of them. Because if you were to follow the developmental stages of this European, from the time he crawled up out of the cave to now him being a technological super giant, know that the kind of people that develop those kinds of sophisticated technology are vicious, they are non-empathetic, and they are warlike. And that is the way that technology guides itself. It has to be impositional. It is service to its own self. It does not serve others. It may serve others to serve the one who is implementing it so that they can control them better, but no. So anytime you see anybody technologically landing in a ship or needing a ship to take their bodies from one place to the next, know that the greatest and most advanced civilizations in existence have no external technologies.
understand that this type of technology was tried more than once. I think this is the fourth time, and it has failed. So they took it here to set up a hierarchy on planet Earth. And would you say that the right brain technology would be the feminine side, the intuition side, to bridge that gap, to bring forth a balance, to actually overtake the technology that they're trying to set up?
That's a good question, but see, we have to understand and understand that it's the opposite. The right brain is actually where the masculine principle operates, and then articulates through the left brain. It is the left brain where the female brain operates. It's more mechanical. The female brain is mechanical. The masculine brain is abstract. So the mechanical brain of the left brain operates in the left brain, but articulates through the right. You see. So it looks like the feminine principle is articulating through the right brain, but she is mentally dealing from a mechanical perspective, which is because her body and her nature is fixed to cycles. So she is more of a cyclic natured body where her energy and everything that actually comes to her is based upon body consciousness. Most people think it's the other way around, and it's not. The mother wit comes from body consciousness and the fact that she is in touch with nature and more centrifugally connected to the earth. So she is more mechanical, which is why the information age and the computer age is dominated by her, because she is a creature that seeks information, not knowledge. She seeks it. The man seeks knowledge and then creates information. It is the woman who takes the information and then builds the society around that. So a lot of us are mixed up based on the European feminists twisting the actual psychometric operations of the brain and the feminine and the masculine, and twist it. It is the masculine brain that is abstract. He thinks in the right brain because he's a problem solver. That's why you see all these mechanical gadgets. It's the men who create all these things, and you have to have abstract thinking in order to see how you're going to make these things work so that you can put them together abstractly and then mechanically work it out in a schematic. So it's the opposite. It's not that men are left brain and women are right brain. It's the opposite. Mm-hmm. Men are right brain because they are abstract thinkers, and women are left brain because they are mechanical and mechanical and computer-like thinkers.
Okay, that is really informative. We've been taught so wrong. There's a lot of things that we're releasing, being untaught, miseducated. Now, would you say the real teacher is the breath itself? It enfolds in us? It moves at a rate that perfects us, breathing, the way we used to breathe?
Oh, yeah. We don't breathe deeply enough. We don't breathe. The air is not clear enough. We don't get the proper oxygen. The oxygen level and the nitrogen and hydrogen levels are lower than they were at any other time, which shows that the shrinkage of the oxygen levels on our planet is actually being purposely done in order to crop the people, the population on the planet. The breath, which we call the healing breath as well as the developmental breath that we teach at our university, is very important. In fact, the breath, we are breatharians by nature. We don't eat food. Food eating is actually a habit that we developed after the fall. And we got our nutrition directly from what I call in my book the direct menu of God. The direct menu of God is the solar energy that feeds all plants, feeds all life. Without the sun, there's nothing. The atmosphere that surrounds our planet is basically the distiller of that solaric nutrition, and it is through the breath and in the lungs that we create the microminerals, or the essential microminerals, that actually are the substance that we call our foundational essences in our bodies. We don't get minerals from water or plants. Those are secondary. The primary way we create minerals is through the breath. So you can stop eating for 40 days, you can stop drinking for 3 to 7 days and still live, but you can't stop breathing for 5 minutes.
Wow. That is really profound. And the ever-increasing dependence on technology, which the people are, like you shared, is becoming increasingly separated from our spirit to the universe. It is continually weakening us. Could you expand on that?
Well, it is weakening us because the spiritual, the psycho-spiritual, and the physical are becoming more and more detached, and when that happens, the empathy for others, the empathy for life, the empathy that we create within that spectrum of existence we call love. Love is actually the empathetic, an empathetic energy that flows. It's when consciousness becomes individuated, and in that individuation becomes tinctured as a kind of emotional attachment to the other living things. And empathy is that, that electromagnetic kind of force, yin and yang, that work to balance out our energies. But we don't have that anymore because we've become more individualistic based upon people who have taught us to be more individualistic. And even those who try to force us to be together are actually forcing us together so that they can force us to work for them and their individualistic thinking. So we don't have a true commonality because there is a loss of empathy for one another. And of course, the more we are more a tribe, I hate to use that word tribe because that's a pretty derogatory Roman word. But when we group together as clans or as people who have an identity, we call ourselves Sulu or Twi and so forth, when we become an identity based upon our environment and how the environment shapes our habits, we tend to feel that we are different from someone else who has shaped their habits around the way their environment has taught them to perceive and to participate in the world. So we tend to feel that the differences are more important than the commonality. And we are taught by those who wish to control their own little piece of the rock that those people who are different are less than we are, so that they can maintain control. And it's usually the problem is not the people themselves, because people can get together. I don't care what color they are. I don't care what nationality they are. It's the priesthood of control. It's the STS entities, what they call service to self entities, versus the STO entities, which is the service to others. So we're now under the rule of the STS entities.
Okay. They're saying a lot. Would you say, remember listening to one of your programs, which is really good, all of them, and your son basically left the public school? Would you say the new kids on the block, the indigo, the crystal, and the rainbow that are coming forth, are working with the ascension to help, and they do not need to be in these public schools and systems to be trained under the military influence?
Absolutely. We have to rescue our children from the brain drain, from plugging them into this pathological matrix of madness. Because the child you send to school after you've learned, you see children have a healthy disdain for first days of school. It's a kind of disengagement that is traumatic for some children who feel that these big magnificent houses are nothing more than factories for cranking out, consumer drones. It is for us to keep our children from these minting factories, these mind minting factories, I call them. And what they do is they take your children, and the child that comes back is not your child anymore. It belongs to the way that the one who has that child's mind is molding the future. And I'll give you a for instance. Say Walmart. wants to build a Walmart establishment in 2020, or say in 2014, say 2018, 2020, 1920. What they do is they go to a specific area, and then they talk to the governor, they talk to the school district, and they then create the curricula for the children to become service professionals. It doesn't matter whether you want to be a doctor or any of these things. They will choose a specific area, and they will program the school curricula to crank out those who will be working in Walmart in 5 years.
Oh, God.
So the school system itself is an automaton that cracks out these so-called drones, these computer drones and these worker drones. And if you want your child to be a thinker, you can't send your child to a school that teaches them what to think. If you want to teach your child how to think, you cannot send your child to a public school.
That is so true. We appreciate it. We have a little time here left. We're not out of words, but out of time for this program. Dr. Phil Valentine has a very good book he's put out called The Wounded Womb. Anything else you want to tell the listening audience, and we want to constantly support him?
Thank you so much. I just want to thank you for the opportunity of addressing the family. My number is 800-847-1291. Again, 800-847-1291. And if you wish to go up on our university's website, where the link to my book is, as well as the link to our classes, you can go to UKSNOW. That's U as in United, K as in King, S as in Science, NOW.org. And just click the courses button to look over our courses. If you wish to see what other students may have achieved while they were with us, you can see there's a link there that says what students say. And while you're there, please add your email to our mailing list so you can keep in touch with what it is that we have as our activities and our lecture assignments.
Okay. Did you get all of that, everybody? We want to thank Dr. Valentine for coming on. We're definitely going to support him and send him beautiful offerings. I want you guys to constantly keep him in your thoughts and send energy, positive energy his way. And thank you, Dr. Phil, for coming on the show, and I will get back with you.
Thank you.
This is Dot with Psychic World. Thank you for listening in. And all of our callers, send your emails, and you got the information. If you don't have it all, just listen to the recording. You can get it. And constantly, thank you for your support. Thank you. This is Dot with Psychic World. Listening in.